We gon' run it, hit the field, blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Hey, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to AFC North Talk. I am your temporary host until Sonny gets here, Ace Boogie. My man Quincy Carrier represents the Browns. J-Rock represents the Steelers. As I said, Sonny will be joining us, so don't worry, Ravens fans and Ravens flock. He will be here.
Let's get that Roquan hate in right now. Let's go. Let's go. This is the Roquan hate hour. Yeah, he got an interception. I'm not moved. JLK got 2 in 10 days. You know what I mean?
Hand was nice too.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that was a nice little interception he got there. You know,
and it was funny because when I saw it, they were like Patrick Queen, and then I was like, oh, Q's about to talk crazy about this, and then they were like, oh, my bad, Roquan Smith on the interception. I was like,
that's how I knew the game was over when they let Roquan Smith get an interception. I was like, all right, they ain't serious. He just threw an interception to Roquan Smith, dog. Okay, all right. That's like if you let Terrell Suggs get an interception. It's like you just okay. It's just not meant for you.
For sure. Super chats are open, so definitely feel free to drop those in there. With Sonny not being here, we're going to say the Ravens game until last. I'm just going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off because there are only 3 playoff teams alive right now in the AFC North. My Cincinnati Bengals ended up falling to the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, eliminating them from the playoffs. My thoughts on this, I kind of felt like we were playing with house money. But it kind of felt like, oh, man, if the Browns are going to rest their starters next week, we really got a real deal chance. But the way that they ended this game in the second half, not scoring any points, was just like, damn, they just couldn't do anything. I don't know what Spags did. It's kind of like they pulled a Cincinnati Bengals defense on the Bengals. Like usually we're the team that kind of limits them with scoring in the second half, and they did it to us. Great year for Jake Browning. At least we know that we have a backup quarterback now, but it just wasn't our year, guys. It just didn't seem to come together with Joe Burrow struggling at the beginning of the season. He finally gets right. Then he ends up going down. Then Jamar Chase is out for a little bit. T. Higgins just in a contract year wasn't really available. He's here. He's not here. So it was kind of a weird year for the Bengals. The defense regressed. I would be lying if I sat up here and said that it didn't. I think that was kind of the biggest thing that stuck out to me also in this game was the Bengals defense still ended up giving up explosive runs, explosive plays to a Kansas City Chiefs offense that doesn't look the same. Like this Chiefs team, like I respect them. They came out. I give them their credit for getting the win. 18 of those points were field goals. Like it was insane that their kicker was responsible for 18 of those points with that offense being as good as it is. But the Bengals still weren't good enough to take them down in that fashion. So it is a year where a lot of Bengals fans are going to look back and say, damn, this could have been a year where, the AFC was wide open. Unfortunately, this is a season where the Bengals lost Joe Burrow. They had some injuries. Things didn't go their way. And you just have to pretty much lick your wounds and come back next season. So for the Bengals right now, I think you're looking at, where does this leave DJ Reader? Where does this leave T. Higgins? A lot of things to talk about, but definitely that whole quarterback controversy, I definitely think died after the last game when Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions. I never really thought it was a legit, thing, but some people were like, oh, you got to trade Jake. You got to give him a chance to play somewhere else. I think Jake proved that he could be a backup, but you saw at the end of the game, he kind of regressed to some of those early moments that we saw from Jake Browning where he just held onto the ball like a statue. So unfortunately, the Bengals season is over. However, it was one where they kind of at least went down swinging. So I'm glad to say that they could have really went down as soon as Joe Burrow went down, but they made it interesting. So it is what it is. But Quincy, I'm gonna let you get it off, bro. I know you about to go in, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you get the floor, bro.
Nah, see, it's not like you Joe Goodberry. Like, this ain't as fun to do to Ace, because Ace is pretty reasonable about the stuff he says. Joe Goodberry, on the other hand, sometimes could get a little bit in his Duffy bag and get a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, look, we knew a season like this was kind of bound to happen to the Bengals. And the reason I say that is like they've had so much stuff, and this is not to discredit what they've done well. I'm not trying to do that, but they have had things go right for them for a couple of years, right? Like sometimes it's something bouncing the right way. Sometimes it's just, okay, they get healthy here, that it felt like, okay, eventually they're going to get the ball to bounce the wrong way on something, right? Like the Joe Burrow injury thing. It's been a non-problem like for 2 years. He's been coming off an injury. It's been a non-problem. This time, it looked like it was going to be a problem. That ended up not being a problem. And then like you get a random weird wrist injury in the middle of the season, right? It just wasn't meant to be. I think that's the best description for the Bengals this year. And it might be a blessing in disguise for Cincinnati, right? Because going to 2 AFC championship games is tiring, right? And at some point, that team was going to get tired. And they put up a valiant fight, a respectable fight at the end of this season, but they're tired. Like, they're at the end of the day, they are tired. They don't have Joe Burrow. Like, you're seeing the same thing with Kansas City right now, by the way, too. Like, a lot of the reason Kansas City looks so vulnerable and why these guys aren't making plays that you used to see make plays is they're tired. Like, it's exhausting. You ever hear Cam Newton talk about what happened in that Super Bowl where he was like, not going to lie, we was exhausted. Like, it was so much, we were tired. And that can sometimes affect you. Like, fatigue is a real thing. And it hits every team. And it's why it's so hard to have long periods of success, and why the ones who can do that are often heralded at the highest level. And, you know, the Bengals just had a little bit of a down year. They'll probably be back next year. We'll see what the future has in hold for those wide receivers, but I'm not foolish enough to think that Joe Burrow is simply a creation of the wide receivers around him. Like, I've seen him play well without those wide receivers before in the NFL. I'm pretty sure he can do the same. And it's not like he's losing Jamar Chase. Like, that piece is going to be with him. Maybe you don't have T. Higgins, but I feel like he's a good enough quarterback to make a number 2 option be serviceable in that role. He doesn't need all 3 of them in order to be successful. And maybe that allows resources to change and a thought process to change, where they put more money into like running the ball, protecting them that way. You know, this could end up being a good thing for the Bengals in the long run. So yeah, it's a tough season. You didn't make the playoffs, but hey, Bengal fans, I would say you got your first round pick. You'll have a better than usual first round pick. Maybe you can fall into somebody who can help you. And then also you're going to be rested and well recovered for a run next year, if that's in the cards for y'all health wise. Again, it's going to be an ultra competitive division. It's always an ultra competitive division. You know, it's crazy. As good as the AFC North has been this year, like, there's no reason it won't be better next year. And when I say there's no reason, it really should be better, because the AFC North has been this good despite tons of injuries to very marquee players this year. I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick has gone down with injury this year. Multiple guys on the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow has gone down with injury. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase have missed games this year. We don't even got to get started on the Cleveland Browns. Like, the one team that's kind of been healthy, shockingly, Baltimore. And they started this unhealthy.
They usually never the ones that's healthy.
They never healthy.
And they start the season super unhealthy, right? So next year, I mean, like, if just you get relative health from the AFC North, we're talking about like, oh yeah, it's different. Again, I talk about this all the time. It's not a fluke. It's not a mistake. This is the division that has continuity with all 4 of its teams. And that's why they're like this, right? Not only do they have continuity, we found out Zach Taylor's a pretty good coach, right? Like, continuity, good coaches, good research and development staffs. They all do it different ways, so they're not really stepping on each other's toes. It's as close to a power conference that you could see in a division, and that's just going to be. It's like having the best 4 college football teams in one division in one con. It's nuts. It's nuts what happens here, and it's going to happen for a long time because I don't see anything changing in Cincinnati. I think things are probably going to get better for Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and then also Baltimore. I mean, well, Lamar Jackson is not going anywhere. And we're about to have to call him a 2-time MVP, which means all those. Remember how I used to have to fight to make sure people don't say that Trevor. See, for all the shit that Raven fans get me because I'm not a big fan of Roquan Smith, y'all never give me my flowers for being like, hey, I am going to say he's better than Josh Allen on this show and that he is in that class. But people did not want to put him in the class this summer of Josh Allen. And we even had to debate with the homeboy Tony about if he belongs up there with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yes, this is where we were with Lamar Jackson. Well, not we. They were with Lamar Jackson. Now he's about to be a 2-time MVP, so he's not going anywhere. Not that I thought he was. But remember, we were like, hey, man, is he even on the same class as Joe Burrow? That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous, dog.
And I mean, I don't remember. Well, I wasn't in the conversation, but I think that a lot of people were doubting him because of the quarterback ability. You know what I'm saying? His throwing ability. You know,
it was a lot of like trying to justify why you should not pay Lamar Jackson. And in order to justify it, you had to tear him down a peg from where you knew he belonged. And I just felt like that was a ridiculous thing that they did because I've always felt like Lamar was always in the elite quarterback conversation. But I remember taking a lot of flack for that when I put that up there in my videos and videos here. Talk about how Lamar is in that elite tier. And not everybody was down with that in September. You know, for everybody who likes to point out how wrong I could be sometimes, how about you point out that one, Baltimore fans? Now that Sonny's here, let's get back to our Roquan slander. Now I'm just slaying with you, son.
Not in this game. This is highlights.
No, this is
this one.
Roquan.
We actually, Sonny, we're talking about the Bengals game, so that way you're not confused. Let me get these 2 super chats, then we're gonna go to J Rock and Sonny for their thoughts on this game. Ben Raleigh has a $20 super chat here. Says, "I'ma just say this. Jake Browning may not be the best QB ever, but the kid, I call him that even though we're in the same age bracket. Jake gave us a legit shot, maybe undeservingly so, but it was a shot. Respect." Yeah, I mean, I think that we found a backup quarterback, man. I think Jake Browning was a nice little story. Hopefully we now have a serviceable quarterback that we can have. I was glad he was able to get that exposure because now the kid can get paid. This is a guy that was undrafted. He's about 27 now, so hopefully he can finally get paid. Investing in himself, man, that was dope to see him do and to see it pay off the way that he did. Ravens Nation here has a $5 super chat. Q, you know why we won't defend Roquan against you because we really don't care what you think. If you ask anybody else, he's a top 2 linebacker. Y'all gotta understand this man is trolling y'all. Come on, I gotta understand this.
He's into it every time.
Hey, and by the way, Ravens Nation, y'all do defend Roquan Smith to me. Like, nah. I get the tweets. I get the messages. Oh, yes. Y'all are investing.
I barely acknowledge you about it, but yes, I know. You triggered them quickly with that.
We're gonna get a flurry of super chats, man. It's calculated. Professor Chaos, $2 super chat. Which is the dark horse to win it all this year? If I were to say, like, I don't know what the stand-ins are now, but I would say if I'm picking a team from the AFC as a dark horse, the one that I feel like nobody would see coming would be the Texans. Texans, that would just be random as hell.
Rookie quarterback.
Let me throw this pick, and I hate it. The Browns.
The Browns with Flacco would be crazy.
I gotta go with the Browns.
Browns with Flacco would be crazy.
I know what I was. I
feel like the Browns have a better chance than the Texans, though, right? Like I think the Browns are a better team, right?
But anybody that doesn't win the division
be a bigger surprise than the Browns.
Not picking the Browns, though.
That is true. But I feel like they had it. Like if the Browns did get to the bowl, it wouldn't surprise me just because of the defense.
It wouldn't surprise us because we have watched the AFC North all year, but I think so many people are so quarterback oriented that they're like, oh, well, it's going to be about quarterbacks. We've been talking about how good this Browns defense is all year. and what that allows the offense to get away with too.
Yeah. For me, I hate that I had to say this on this show, but I think the Browns and the Ravens are some of the top teams in the AFC. Like this currently as it stands right now, that's why to me I wouldn't consider them a dark horse, but I think like you were saying from a public view, they probably are considered because they aren't paying attention.
I know there's two teams I wouldn't want to play, and that, in my opinion, it would be the Browns and the Ravens because they seem to also both teams seem to be playing their best football. Something to note: Joe Flacco's best 2 games as Cleveland Browns, his last 2 games as a Cleveland Brown, where the turnovers have been down. And look, that Browns defense is real. We've all seen it. If they play remotely like they do every week, and then that offense can put together 300 yards of offense, that's a very hard combination to beat, no matter what you think of the quarterback. And this is where you have to get away from being super quarterback oriented, because this is how teams like, the 2015 Broncos win an NFL championship, a Super Bowl, is by good defense, just being able to power you through. Yeah. And your
definitely
offense
wasn't Peyton Manning. Definitely wasn't Peyton Manning.
In Philly,
that was a nasty performance.
Marius Thomas.
And then also another thing that the Browns have going for them is same thing with Baltimore, right? Where their firepower is not on offense, but they do have some innovative offensive thinkers, right? On both of these teams, where it's like, hey, if you need to draw up a play, Todd Monk and Kevin Stefanski amongst one of the best to get something drawn up to create an advantage for you on offense. So when you have that kind of a dynamic, and I think it was Gary Kubiak in 2015 when the Broncos did it. I forget who the offensive coordinator was for the Eagles, but it was Doug. What's his name? Doug Phillips. He's the coach for Jacksonville Jaguars now.
No, that's
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson, who, Philly special. I mean, it revolutionized the league for like 2 years. When you have that combination there, it's a very dangerous and very tried and true and tested one. And then the Baltimore Ravens have the best quarterback in football right now. Now, Pat Mahomes in the playoffs, I ain't gonna sleep on him. I see people acting like they want Pat in the playoffs. So I'm like, look, I see this with Brian in 2018, where people were like, no, we want Brian. That team's weak. They suck. I see them play, and then Brian turned it on. I don't know if I'm begging to play Pat in the playoffs, but Lamar, he's been at that level where it ain't Pat, but it ain't that different.
All right, got another one here. Grid Flow here, $2 super chat. Roquan is not even a top 5 linebacker in the division. He's 10th. Okay.
Hey, look. Sometimes I don't believe I have an impact. And then I read tweets like that, and I'm like, I do have an impact on this game.
Elite Dragon.
Double team stack is how much Roquan slander did you see on your timeline? Like, that's my impact on the game there, baby.
Elite Dragon, $2 super chat. Flacco needs to start over Watson next year.
Man, let's see if Flacco is even going to be wanting to play in Cleveland next year, because somebody might offer him $30 million to start for him.
They take him in Pittsburgh.
Huh?
Raven.
Oh
my God, that's nasty. Flacco in Pittsburgh next season. Nova Stone, didn't see you last week, Nova Stone, with that 49ers. What happened? Where you been at, Nova?
No, he was here. He switched sides. Yeah, he was just acting like a Ravens.
He flipped. Okay,
you notice he's been a Ravens guy for a couple weeks now.
Okay. Ravens D is better than the Browns in all stats.
Sure.
Yeah.
In stats, but we know who has the better defense.
I don't know. That's gonna be.
I don't know.
More Kyle Hamilton or Myles Garrett?
Okay, on the rushing side, Myles Garrett. Actually, I will even say
defensive
this.
impact.
Oh, hold on. I even say this: Myles Garrett, if you put both defense together, he will be the best player of both defense.
And then Denzel Ward will be second.
No, Hamilton has that. Nah, that's when we will start deferring.
It is a Darius before.
Okay, now you're trolling.
You got an offense. You got an offense like with the Bengals was doing.
All I'm saying is with these teams went head to head,
Myles Garrett is going to be irrelevant.
Hey, when these teams went head to head in Baltimore, the Browns defense was really, really good. It helped them secure a victory. When they went head to head earlier in the season, the Browns had the handicap of having DTR in his first game unprepared at quarterback. They still only gave up 14 points to the Baltimore Ravens.
That game was a 1 point difference.
Yeah.
The second one.
What
right?
was the difference, though?
It was for 1 point. Anything.
That's it.
I mean, it was just
Like Greg Newsom.
the pick. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
On the best quarterback in the NFL right now. On the road.
Well, he has thrown picks and he has fumbled.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't done it.
He
All
been
right,
doing
hey,
that all season.
I can't wait until these teams possibly play each other in the playoffs. It's gonna get real spicy.
It will happen.
but
It will happen.
Hopefully,
let me toss
more
it.
than one playoff game so it can happen.
Ooh.
No,
Let me toss it.
It will be in the second round. Anyway, sorry, Ace.
Yeah,
you
man.
good.
What more can I say? That Quincy and Ace didn't already say, man. It was a sad way to see, Cincinnati go out. They had a great story with that guy Jake Browning coming in on the bench, seemingly season losing their franchise quarterback with Burrow going down, but he stepped up and did what he needed to do and did it way better than a lot of people thought that he was going to be able to do, as far as carrying that team to a potential payoff run. I think that they had a lot of magic, initially with him, and the magic kind of finally ran out, like Quincy alluded to, as far as how the Chiefs has been doing the last few years, with their runs and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate, what I'm saying, as a Bengals fan, I know it hurts, but with that being said, they'll come back. They'll come back stronger next year. They'll have, a lot more pieces, and they'll have a lot more tools, and they'll probably reclaim and give the division a run like they did before. So, I don't think that they played like they wanted to win. The Bengals didn't play like they wanted to win. I think that, Kansas City had more of a dominant persona in this game. They definitely showed up and wanted to, make a name for themselves, especially in the second half. I think Cincinnati had a chance to actually win it. And when they actually beat them in the first half, and then when they came out in the second half, they kind of just stalled out, and whatever KC talked to them in the locker room about, they got it together real fast, and Cincinnati just couldn't catch up, So again, say they allowed Kansas City. I ain't gonna lie though,
Ace. Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just gonna say that Kansas City defense dictated the rest of the game. So I mean, I don't think that they could get the run that they wanted to get. As far as Cincinnati, Joe Mixon was really pedestrian like in this game. I think he had 60-some yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Ace, think so.
60-some yards.
I honestly don't know. I kept watching him run into a brick wall, bro.
I know he had over 20. I know he had over 20 carries though. And so with that being said, they tried to run them. And I think, excuse me, I think in particular they fell short when in the third quarter they was 4 for 1 on the 6-yard line and couldn't get that 4 for 1 conversion in the red zone. That was tough, man. And that, like I said, that could have been the game changer right there. They only lost by 8 points. So I think that pretty much after that, it's pretty much they were defeated mentally. The Bengals were defeated. And I think that they was pretty much after that, it was death by field goal for the Chiefs. So I think that in my pregame, I said that if Pacheco got off, then that was probably going to be what it was, and and that was going to be the key to Kansas City winning, and which he did. He had over 130 yards on the ground. I think he had over 160 for scrimmage, if I'm not mistaken. So. Then you have Rashee Rice get off and have a big game. So, I mean, I just think that they just Cincinnati just completely collapsed in the second half, whereas though they had a chance to win it, but Kansas City sold that right up.
Yeah, I know you were getting them Brownie head tweets ready. Ace.
Oh, Brownie head. Yeah, I had a Jake Browning T-shirt and everything planned, but after that second half, bro, it was Christmas was canceled. Christmas was canceled after that. I mean, Bengals fans and Chiefs fans have talked so much trash to each other these last 2 years that we wasn't gonna let them slide if Jake Browning.
To be fair, Bengals fans I think started that trash talking.
So it really started with Mike Hilton, man. It started with Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton had the infamous "see you in Burrowhead next week" thing, and that just sprawled into
That's what I'm saying.
something else.
Look, let me add my 2 cents of this game because I neither of all these games, the Ravens obviously I watched the whole thing. The other ones I watched them in spots, but what I did see of this game is there was a super chat about 4 weeks ago. I don't remember who sent it or anything, right? But they were asking who is the best defense in the AFC North. And back then, I think most of us said around the same that these defenses are all playing really good. This is pre-Burrow injury. All these defenses are playing really good. All these defenses are, they can be considered top of the league. After Burrow gets injured, we think, well, the defense is the defense. I mean, I put this out there: is the defense gonna hold on? Right? Like we didn't know anything about Brownie, right? But Brownie was a question mark. Brownie sucked the first game, but after that, he played well. But the defense never has held that end of the bargain, right? They have had moments. They have had good moments, but for the most part, 3 of these defenses have held after that tweet pretty good, right? Top of the league. We talk about Browns, Ravens, top of the league, and even the Steelers are also up there, top of the league. And the Bengals have been fading. That's something that, as the Bengals obviously not going to the playoffs this year, they need to look back at like what happened on defense, right? Because if Cleveland didn't blink, they didn't batter when they kept losing quarterbacks, they kept fighting. The Bengals defense kind of collapsed. And the other thing, and this is something that the Bengals has had problems for a while, and this is not that they haven't tried, but they just getting the wrong personnel, or maybe the offensive play calling needs to change, but the offensive line allowing the amount of pressure. Again, not that I watched the whole 60 minutes, but every time I was watching this game, I felt like pressure was coming. I see Browning getting sacked. And I know, for example, Orlando Brown Jr. has his peaks and valleys. I mean, in Baltimore, he had them. I think he had them also in Kansas City. That's why Kansas City probably let him go. But they need to figure out, like, we know Jonah Williams probably walking out, right? So they need a new right tackle next year. But the rest, what's happening here? They need to change the scheme. They need to change the blocking scheme, right? Because they know, again, because Zach not changing his play calling when Burrow comes here. They need to find good pass blocking linemen. Since Zach Taylor doesn't like to run the ball as much, and that puts a lot of pressure on these linemen, right? So the trenches are critical moving forward, and for any team, right? Defensively, I know they lost Reed, right? So that's a big hole, right? That's a huge hole. I acknowledge that, but even before Reed left, this defense was getting gaps. They need to figure. And look, watching Cincinnati, I can even decipher where the gaps are because they have players around, right? But I'm looking at this kid like, man, what's that guy open like that? Like, so it's obviously something in the scheme not working. And like I said, personnel wise, I think they had good players around. And like I said, and the O line again, there's something going on with that O line. It's not for the lack of trying. I'll get that. Mm-hmm. Like they have been trying, but there's something not working there too. So we'll see. I know I will say this: losing to Kansas City in Kansas City. I mean, I know Kansas City wasn't playing great before that game, but as Q always says, Pat Mahomes, right? I would say it was when you lost the previous week. The way you lost that previous week to the Steelers, that's probably what cemented the season. So,
right. Oh, I agree. So with that being said, let's get into our sponsor.
Hey, before you read Q, were you gonna put a comment there?
I already talked about the game.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ace.
Yep. So the new year is coming. Step into 2024 with confidence, thanks to Manscaped, where resolutions are met and hairs are neatly kept. As the new year approaches, why not make self-improvement a breeze by keeping your body well groomed? Introducing Manscaped's Performance 5 Ultra Package, the ultimate all-inclusive kit designed to help you feel clean cut and confident as you should, featuring a powerhouse lawnmower 5.0 Ultra This next generation trimmer ensures precision and ease when tackling your toughest hair. So kick off 2024 with a trim above the rest and use our code AFC North Talk at manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is here. And let me tell you, it's got futuristic tendencies. Included in this bundle is a brand new Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and the essential aftercare products like the Crop Soother, the Ball Aftershave, and Crop Preserver, the anti-chafing ball deodorant, and 2 free gifts. Their 5th generation lawnmower features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off of the top, and a new foil blade to go smoothly wherever your heart desires. Did I mention that it's also waterproof as well? Manscaped also threw in 2 free gifts, the 2.0 boxers and the Shred 2.0 toiletry bag. Resolutions may come and go, but a well-groomed you is here to stay with Manscaped's latest and greatest. Start the new year off right, because when you look good, you feel good. Manscaped, helping you sculpt the best version of yourself for the year around. New year, new you, and definitely a new trimmer. Manscaped's got your grooming resolutions covered. Once again, get 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with the free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code AFC North Talk. Happy New Year to your balls. Pause.
This is explicit.
Yep.
That's
Direct
crazy.
to the point.
All right.
That's crazy. All right. Don't know how to follow that up, but let's get back into some of these super chats here.
By the way, thank you.
That we have.
Thank you all for the message that I got. Sorry that I was late. I literally just landed. I was telling the guys, like, I landed. I'm coming. These damn bags are not coming out. I'm just eating because I haven't eaten in a while, but I appreciate y'all.
Them bags don't ever come out when you need them to come out, do they?
I'm like, but what the hell, Frontier? What the hell, Frontier?
Oh,
that's why, because you was on Frontier.
yeah. Well, Sonny,
You got to get them carry-ons, dog. You got to get that carry-on.
Yeah.
Not when it's Christmas time. I can't.
As
I
you
usually
can.
do.
Nah, man, Frontier. I have a crazy.
That's
Frontier
the cost
story.
of doing business, man.
I have a crazy Frontier story because I've never been in an airport and people were like ready to throw hands until coming back from Vegas. So, Frontier usually you can slide. This is why I do Frontier, because most of the time they're not checking for your carry-on bag. Most of the time you can just slide through and you can just put your bag up there. Nobody's hassling you, none of that. So on the way back, this dude gets out. He's like checking everybody's bag. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right, I gotta go and put it in the case. And so this is one of those people that like take their job super serious. So like, I guess they were bored in zone 1. Zone 1, you got a carry-on bag. I'm in zone 3. I ain't pay for no carry-on bag, but I was like, they didn't charge me on the way here. We good. So a guy from zone 4 is standing there and he doesn't get out of the way. He's letting people go, but he doesn't get out of the way. This guy that's the flight attendant is like, yeah, you're not flying. Now, mind you, the other Frontier flights from Vegas back to Orlando are like 13 hours, 14 hours. They got like stops in all different spots. He literally did not let this man get on the flight. He comes up and he's like, oh, you pushed me? He's like, no, I'm suing the airlines. It was just a big commotion, bro, on New Year's Day. Coming back, this dude got stuck in Vegas because he went off on the dude. But guess what happened? Because that incident happened, at first they pulled me to the side like, yeah, we're going to have you pay for these bags. But because they got into it, they just let us get on the flight, dog.
It was a blessing for you, Ace.
I was like, this is crazy.
I had a Frontier flight from New York back home, and I actually did an episode of AFC North Talk on that.
In the airport?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? Remember, I was sitting next to, for you wrestling fans out there, Adam Cole was sitting next to me. I had to get Adam Cole to move over. You ever been to the airport in Queens, right? It's not a lot of sitting space in them. So I was like, hey, bro, like you next to the terminal, you next to the port. Can I get that? Because he only had headphones. He was like, yeah, man. He scooted over. I did a whole episode of AFC North Talk next to Adam Cole. They ended up canceling the flights like 2 hours after we get done with that AFC North Talk. I had to take a Greyhound all the way back from New York to Georgia. And it was as painful as an experience as you could imagine. Yes. Yes.
I didn't even know they had that long a Greyhound.
I know
Was
you
that
was
like
like
a-
2 days.
2 days. That sounds like a 48-hour trip.
Hours.
Man.
That's 13-hour bus trip. Yes. Yes. And it was quicker than the Frontier was talking about get me back 2 days from now. I'm like, stop. I got work.
Yeah.
Super chat here from Titanic 1912 says, "Hello everyone, how are y'all tonight?
We're good
pretty
now.
good."
Sorry. I didn't have no wild Frontier story. My bad, y'all.
Oh, okay. He don't live like us.
Nah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Delta man. You feel me?
Oh yeah.
man. Oh,
Yeah,
He got
Yeah.
flight miles. He
You
must
got
have a
money.
corporate job.
you got money. Gagan here, $2
Not
super
independent.
chat. 2024 year of the dragon, baby. I don't know what the significance of that is, but all
I
right.
don't know either.
I think it's like a Chinese New Year thing.
Yeah, but what would that have to be with us? I have no idea.
It's just year of the dragon. You know what I
Year of
mean?
the dragon.
It's a good year to get a dragon. Yes.
January Joe is coming. Flacco that ass up.
You
$2
see
super chat from-
the Browns fans now. They sound
Oh,
like
yeah.
Baltimore
Oh
a
yeah.
couple years ago.
February Flacco coming. February Flacco, baby. Let's go.
Nova Stone $2 super chat. Lamar is now a Hall of Fame lock at 26, like
No.
Tom at 27.
No.
No, he gets 2 MVPs. He's a Hall of Fame lock.
He gets
You
2
think
MVP.
so?
You kind
You
of
think so?
Who
I
has
think-
won 2 MVPs and has not made the Hall of Fame?
I'm
2
about to say, 'cause I
MVPs,
don't
you
know
gotta-
too many
you gotta
people
make
that
it,
done got
bro.
that.
And then you also have to remember, Sonny, longevity is kind of like a side effect of people who make the Hall of Fame, but most people make the Hall of Fame off the strength of 2-3 years.
No, but I'm just looking for at least one ring. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think it matters though.
So you think Phillip
Yeah,
Rivers is well, he
He never won MVP twice.
And
He
then,
never won
what? Because they let Dan Marino in. He never won a Super Bowl. He never even got to a Super Bowl, but he had like 2 MVPs, right? Yeah, you get 2, you're in.
Even most players that got like defensive player of the year, like JJ Watt, like he ain't never win, but
yeah, but defensive player is different.
It's crazy to think about from the 2018 draft, 2018-2017 draft. Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and likely Lamar Jackson already are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like they could retire tomorrow and they would be in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't know Peyton Manning won 5 MVPs, dog. I'm not
Peyton was like that. Peyton was like that.
Peyton's got 5. Aaron Rodgers had 4. Jim Brown, Johnny Unitas, and Brett Favre and Tom Brady have 3. And then people with 2, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Kurt Warner, and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Sounds like all Hall of Famers to me.
If they let Kurt Warner in with 2, okay, Lamar's getting in with 2.
Let's see.
Fair
Sonny, Mighty Mulatto, $5 super chat. Sonny, do the Ravens rest? Let the Steelers get in, mess around and find out, or try to eliminate them this week. Quite funny to see them eliminated that way.
Well, so the thing is for the Ravens, while you were watching that game, we were down to 2. Is this crazy against Miami? 2 healthy corners, one being an old Steeler guy, right? Mollett.
Who played good.
He played good. But I'm just saying we had 2 healthy corners. 3 safety. We started with 3 safety. 1 also left. We had 2 safety. We were super short. I think we're gonna rest everybody that is dinged up. That means in Lamar. Lamar probably plays a little bit. I just think there's a lot of players dinged up. They're gonna rest.
We about to see Lamar in that hoodie, sunglasses, and chains, like his my knee hurt outfit. He about to be back in that, and then you know who we about to see out there? The return of the twin. Shout out to Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley. It's gonna be heavy Huntley, man.
Lamar Jackson twin of them play today.
Well, so anyway, I think you will see some starters playing around a half. But there's a lot of secondary players that won't play. That's what I'm thinking.
I got another one here.
Come on, man. Just let us win. Let us go on.
The easiest path.
Put some practice string players in the practice.
Is there a way the Browns can ruin this for the Steelers?
Y'all number one. Y'all don't need no stats.
No. Unfortunately, no.
It's the Titans, right? If the Titans lose to the Jaguars, they basically done because then they need a tie from the other.
Oh, you out here betting on Ryan Tannehill, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, fun fact: when the Browns won 10 games and missed the playoffs, you know who we had to bet on?
Ryan Shanahan?
Nah, Peyton Manning. Well, Jim Sorgi started again for Peyton Manning, who sat out for a Week 16 game versus the Titans. We didn't make the playoffs that year.
Yep.
Jim Sorgi is crazy.
Yep.
Professor Chaos $5 super chat. Would Joe Flacco be in the MVP convo if he started the first game or the first time Deshaun was hurt? I think he's in the comeback player of the year one. I think he's in there.
I don't know if we need to go MVP far. Like, I feel like once we start putting him in that conversation, this stops becoming fun and it becomes something that people have to seriously talk about. And like, if we seriously have to talk about Joe Flacco, you have to acknowledge the 8 interceptions he's thrown in 5 weeks. And that's not very MVP like, right? Like, we don't got to take it to MVP. It stops being fun if we take it to MVP. If we just leave it at comeback player of the year, that's still fun. We can have fun with this conversation. If we go crazy playoff run, we can still have fun with this conversation. We don't have to go all the way. I just don't feel like it's necessary. We don't got to put him at MVP. He don't belong there. It's fine. You know, it don't matter when he would have started. He probably would throw a ton of interceptions. It's fine. We don't got to go all the way. We could just leave it to where it's fun. And it's fun right now when we're not putting MVP on that.
Yes, sir. Ben Riley, $5 super chat here. Off-season focus and order field position with special teams, defense, top to bottom, offense. Y'all know which group. I'm assuming you're talking about the Bengals. Definitely need a new punter. Definitely need to figure out what's going on defense. I agree with a lot of what Sonny said. Them losing Jesse Bates and Von Bell did a number on the back end on communication. And the run game cannot just be dependent solely on DJ Reader.
Who's the
they got to
dot
have
guy?
some other guys.
Who's the dot guy?
You said
who's the mic? Who's the mic?
Who's the dot guy? I don't even know. It might be Logan Wilson.
It
might be Logan Wilson.
So obviously, before y'all, again, I always caveat, I love Wilson. Then he also needs to have a better job putting people together, right? Like, again, it might be miscommunication. There's something, and
there's definitely. I think it's miscommunication because not much from the defense has changed except the 2 safeties like not being there anymore. So I don't know if Jesse Bates did more than we gave him credit for, like with back end communication, but it just something is different there. Something's different there because there was just too many.
Safeties are young, right? Both of them are young. Dax is second year, and the other guy.
Then they started off with Nick Scott, who was a failure, which I don't know why they didn't start with Jordan Battle from the get-go. But Dax Hill started off good, but he's definitely struggled like to kind of be that free range and safety. But yeah, they got to figure it. Offense, y'all know which group. I'm assuming offensive line. Yeah, offensive line. They go. I think they might have to look at the coach as well when it comes to that. But I won't spend much time on that. Q, this is from Ben. But whatever team signs Flacco to a lot of money may not have the hardware to allow him to succeed like the Browns do.
Yeah, that happens. That happens every offseason.
Yeah, and then also like he might just be hot. Like it's really difficult. People get carried away when quarterbacks have like a few good games, and it's like he might be hot, but that might not say much about. I don't know. Hey, whoever throws in the bag. I'm just happy Flacco got it, right? Like he deserves it.
Yes, sir. All right, so
no expectations on that though.
I'm gonna take a break from the super chats. Let's get into the next game. We'll go with the Steelers at Seahawks. J-Rock, give me your thoughts on that.
Did we talk Browns already?
We didn't talk Browns. You want to go? You want to go to Browns next?
No. Go see that. That's fine.
All right, J-Rock. Let's get your take on the Steelers and Seahawks game.
I'm still alive. For this week anyway. Yeah, man. My Steelers went out the West Coast and handled business, man. A lot of people doubted my Steelers going out to the West Coast, man, and handling business and defeating that 12th man out there. But you know, they stood tall and did it, man, and they did it with authority. I'm proud of them. I really don't think that there's a lot of speculation to this game. Once we won this game, there's a lot of speculation speaking on the 17th consecutive non-losing season for Tomlin. I really don't care about that because only 2 of those years you went to the Super Bowl. So if it doesn't transition to Super Bowl wins, that consecutive stuff don't really mean nothing to me. But I was definitely proud of my team. Proud of it was good seeing them be demonstrative. Najee, Warren, and the O-line and the tight ends, man, they set the tone for this game. Controlled in trenches. I really thought that they were going to have to like pass this game and kind of continue what they were doing last week with Mason Rudolph, but they really kind of like ran that ball, took control of the clock, and really like took the life out of the Seahawks and took the life out of the stadium by watching them, bully their players like that. It was pretty good. Like I said, it's saying them get back to smash mouth football. I think Mason Rudolph came through again, making the good plays that he did, making the good passes. In particular, that one that stood out to me was in the third quarter when he threw flat-footed a 34-yard pass to George Pickens. That George Pickens, wound up making that great catch. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that ultimately, I think Mason Rudolph is pretty much auditioning for his next team. I don't think that, he's gonna.
You don't think it's a controversy, man?
No, I don't think he's gonna stay there next year. I mean, he had enough time, man. He's been there about what? 6 years.
J-Rock, are you ready for the people who are going to be outraged because they're like, I can't believe we didn't bring back Mason Rudolph?
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this right now. If Kenny Pickett can go next week, do you stick with Mason Rudolph or do you go with Kenny Pickett?
Definitely stick with Mason. You definitely stick with that. Okay. I'm definitely gonna rock with Mason.
I don't think you should mess
This is the more important question. You make the playoffs. Who you starting?
Mason.
Ooh,
wow.
You gotta.
So hold on, J-Rock. If you're willing to go into the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, how are you not willing to go into next season with him as a starting quarterback?
Because I think, I'm not saying that I wouldn't be willing to, but I think that it would be a definitely a big quarterback competition in the offseason. Because apparently, for some reason, in this quarterback offseason, Mason Rudolph was good enough to only be third. So I don't understand how now all of a sudden Mason Rudolph is now over the last 5 years, 3 years, 4 years that we've seen Mason Rudolph, he hasn't been playing to this level. And I mean, we have not had the success. Now, granted, you can call it the system. You can call it him just playing like balls to the wall. I got to make things happen, but at the end of the day, he's doing what he needs to do. And I respect it. I like it. And I like what I'm saying. So, like I said, I'm going to keep the hot hand in the game. And I mean, like I said, if it comes down to a competition, they got to compete. They got to compete for it. So, but I'm going to stick with that hot hand now.
I think you're saying like it's just not enough of the difference between the two to feel like you're not like you feel like how you would feel if you were in a game and Najee was popping off for 5 a carry and Jalen was popping off for 2. You just gonna roll with Najee, but if Jalen start popping off for 5, you gonna roll with Jalen. Pretty much it's like, hey, I see these two as interchangeable, which is more of a statement on Kenny Pickett than anything, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
And granted, like I said, I think that they handcuffed Kenny Pickett all year. I think that they've been handcuffing him since he's been in the game. And last year, when we seen those flares of greatness from him, it was him improvising a lot of those times. Like in particular, I remember on the Raven game when he threw that swing pass to Najee Harris to beat Roquan. That was a ad lib. They didn't draw that play up, but Kenny made that play. So a lot of those plays at the end of the game, it was kind of like reminiscent of Ben when he was leaving out. A lot of those was like ad lib. All right, I'm gonna call it a huddle play, and we see that it wasn't the system; it was the quarterback. So, So I think that you got to roll with him. But although I think he made some good plays, I think you got to get ready to get rid of DJ. Deontay Johnson gotta go. Mentally not there. Great player. I think he loses a lot of that focus. And bonehead play to pretty much start the game. You caught the ball and had 4 feet and out of nowhere, made a cartoon noise and fumbled the ball. Luckily, your feet was out of bounds, and you was touching the ball when your feet was out of bounds. That didn't count, and the refs was willing to look into it. but your focus is not there. And then I think after that, he made a couple good plays, and he made a catch to get down close to the end zone and decided to celebrate. And I was scratching my head because it's like, man, like just probably like 5 plays ago when you caught the ball, you know, early in this game when you caught the ball, you was fumbling on the ground looking for the ref or looking for some kind of, you know what I'm saying, flag the way as though somebody's gonna bail you out. Mentally, he's not there. I don't know what it's gonna take, but I think it's about time to like let him go. So like I said, offensively, I think we left a lot of points on the board. I think it was a couple times where we went down there in the end zone where we should have scored touchdowns and we didn't. I don't really like Mike Tomlin's complacency. He's complacent with field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. There's no way that this game should have been within 7 points. We should have been blowing them out at least by, 2 or 3 scores. But he kind of got down there and took the foot off the gas. I think we ran the ball probably like 10 or 15 straight times. And I mean, we had a chance to like score, but we didn't. So we settled for field goals each time. And even off of a turnover when Nick Herbert came up and got that fumble, that strip sack off Geno in the third quarter to kind of like, ice the game. I think that, like I said, we still should have scored. But yeah, those are my hot takes. Defensively, I think we did a good job, though. I think we did a good job of bending, not breaking. Of course, DK is going to get off. We didn't allow the run to do what they thought that they were going to do as far as like getting yards. And, we made a hell of a day for Geno Smith. So, like I said, again, great play by the young rookie Nick Herbert. I think we got a stud with him. Every time we put him in the game, he shows up some form of fashion. He winds up getting a strip sack, a sack, or winds up making some kind of defensive play to, to make a name for himself. So, like I said, I was proud of my boys for going out there and shutting out that noise out in Seattle.
Yeah, I will say that this was a game where, like you said, J-Rock, in the Bengals game, the Bengals kind of gave up. In the Steelers game that I was watching on the TV at the same time, the Steelers were immediately aggressive from the beginning of this game throughout the whole entire game. They came out and forced their will, especially with Najee Harris. I feel like Najee Harris kind of encapsulated Pittsburgh in this game. Some of the runs that he had in this game. This is, to me, like I've watched Najee. That was probably like the best game that I've seen from Najee in a while. That was what they drafted him for. Go ahead.
Real quick, my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you see that second touchdown he did? He scored when Donnell Washington, Pat Frymouth, and all them picked up about 6-7 of the defensive players and took them into the end zone.
That was what the Steelers did in this one, and this is the Steelers team that I think that we've kind of been used to seeing. Like sometimes we didn't see that this season from them with that fight and that urgency, but you definitely saw it in this game. And I think that was a statement win for them because to go on the road in Seattle into that environment where they're also, fighting for a playoff spot and to come out the way that they did, it was impressive. But I mean, that's what we expect from Mike Tomlin. So that's why, like, when a lot of Steelers fans were saying, let's fire Mike Tomlin, I'm like, you're going to fire the guy that just went into Seattle and pulled that out and now is going to also have another year where he's, had another winning season. It just didn't make sense, but that's what this team needed to do. We'll see how the chips fall next week because they need some things to happen for them. But I think if you are a Pittsburgh fan, you were excited about how they came out in this game. And then George Pickens, I've been thinking that George Pickens was wide receiver 1 for them this whole time. I said it before the season. I think he's better than Deontay Johnson. He's really found something with Mason Rudolph. And so that's why I'm saying I don't know if George Pickens wants to go back to Kenny Pickett, dog. I think he likes the fact that Mason Rudolph is, willing to throw the deep bombs and stuff like that and get the ball to him. So the Steelers are making their late season push. We'll see where those chips land. But I think if you're a Steelers fan, you're very encouraged by the performance that they had, especially knowing that a team like the Ravens could sit their starters or will be sitting their starters next week when you play them. So shout out to the Steelers. They did their thing. They definitely proved me wrong because I did pick Seattle, but they clearly came out with an agenda to try to make the playoffs. Q, what were your thoughts on this game?
No, I was impressed by Pittsburgh. I thought that they had a really good showing. Mason Rudolph, pretty, I wouldn't say like impressive, but it's just like the offense just looks so much better with him out there. It just looks like they have an actual NFL offense instead of what they've had out there for most weeks. And it makes you wonder, like, was the problem Matt Canada? Was the problem Kenny Pickett? Or maybe it was a combination of both those guys being the problem? Because because I feel like some of this stuff was on Kenny and some of it was on Matt. And some of it's kind of just common sense, right? Like George Pickens shouldn't have to wait to the third quarterback to get the ball to get the ball consistently, right? We shouldn't be having these press conferences where Mike Tomlin has to explain why his best offensive player can't get the ball. And 2 weeks into the Mason Rudolph experience, we've already been like, oh wow, man, George Pickens, I forgot how good he was, right? Like we were kind of low-key roasting people who said George Pickens was as good as Jamar Chase, and that's still a roastable take, but it doesn't seem as hilarious now, right? Like it's just kind of eye-opening where the problems are with Pittsburgh. And I think the problems are, like, I don't know if Mason Rudolph is going to maintain the level of play that he has at quarterback, but you see what's possible with this team when they just have somebody playing better than mediocre at quarterback, whether they could do it consistently or not. And I think that's that should be the focus and the takeaway for Pittsburgh this offseason. How do we get a upgrade at the quarterback position? Because it's clear to me Kenny Pickett is not going to be that upgrade, right? Like maybe you can get more out of him, but I think Kenny Pickett's more in line with the Teddy Bridgewater, more in line with the career backup, in my opinion. So if you want to,
or Joe Flacco.
No, Joe had a run as a starter, man. Like, you know, Joe don't make Sonny get in this Joe Flacco bag. That's Sonny gonna have to defend that.
I don't want to defend him at this point in his career because I don't like where he's ended.
Nah. Let us know about the good days, man.
Them throws that you be making, Joe. That's all we need.
But and that's true hate right there, because that Joe Flacco is peak Ravens Steelers rivalry days. Like that's pure hate. But especially if he was in Baltimore. But it's eye-opening to me, and I wonder if it was eye-opening to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, because I don't think that Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are so naive that they think, oh man, Mason Rudolph transformed into somebody he wasn't overnight. They realize what's happening. Mason Rudolph is hot. He's making some throws he usually doesn't make, but that's the difference. Somebody being able to make those throws makes in this offense. And if you can get somebody who can do that consistently, they're worth it. And maybe they have more of a sense of urgency at the quarterback position this offseason, or maybe they try to play it safe and, you know, push in all the chips on Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins. Like,
we good.
Hey, yo, I have no idea.
Let Russ cook.
I have no clue.
Let him cook somewhere else. We good.
I could not imagine Russ.
You said
and
we
got
Mason Rudolph at the crib. You said
no, we got a chef.
We got a chef. Wait, Q. You can imagine Russ and Pickens.
Nobody else needs to imagine.
Russell Wilson trying to hit George Pickens with the man. You gonna have to wait your turn.
Nah.
You see these? These are championship rings, George. You gonna have to wait your turn.
We don't need Russ. We don't need Russ over here forcing the ball.
Oh boy! Ooh, I could not imagine a worse pairing. Now, Kirk Cousins, on the other hand, hey, look, might be exactly what George Pickens needs, because George Pickens gonna do all that complaining, and Kirk Cousins gonna be like, "Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy." Right. Just be there when I throw it.
That man dealt with Stephon Diggs and with Justin Jefferson throwing shade at him for years.
Mm-hmm. He ain't do that shit. Like, catch it. You wide receiver, catch it. That's what he do. Like,
what's your thoughts?
On 3rd and 19, I'm throwing the check down.
For sure. What were your thoughts on this game, Sonny?
So I no lie, I wasn't able to watch this game. I didn't have this game in Puerto Rico, and I had limited stuff. I didn't have a computer with me. But for watching the highlights and a little bit of the stats, the only thing I can say is, like, where was this Najee at? Like Najee Like you know how my
He took them
slander.
jeans off and finally started
That was
running. You
blind,
saw
bro.
that?
You know my slander with Najee, and he like, and look, this is what they need with Rudolph, right? Like same thing I said with Brownie. You need a competent running game to help the guy. They gotta get Seattle. By the way, Seattle, they had Kenneth Walker, and they love to abandon the run. That's something I don't understand because Pete Carroll usually had always been a running the ball first kind of guy. He ran for like 10 rushes. I don't get it, especially with the Steelers haven't been great against the run defense in the past couple of seasons, right? I was surprised that he abandoned the run that quickly. But look,
It
the
wasn't
Steelers.
productive.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
still
yeah.
you keep pounding it. You keep pounding, especially with Gino. Not Gino. Gino had a great year last year, and this year he has come back to what still better than what Gino used to be, but not as good as. And I think this is the real Gino that you're gonna get from now on. That's what I think. Anyway, the Steelers did what they need to do. They won. They won the game. They put themselves in quasi good position. Obviously, the Jaguars need to lose for them to make it. That's the easiest one. And obviously, they need to win. That's a given. But if the Jaguars lose, the Steelers are in. Is that possible? I don't know. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is playing. I don't know, but it's rough to root for Tannehill or whoever's gonna play for the Titans.
All right.
Anyway, they won the game. That's important.
By the way, did you watch any of the Titans?
No.
Brother, Ryan Tannehill is garbage now. Like
It's worse than he used to be.
He ain't mobile no more. And I think people forgot just how pivotal that was to Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, because he used to play receiver.
He was a wide receiver at Texas A&M. Yeah. Let me tell you, with Mike Sherman, he is not that anymore. He is food back there. Like,
but what happened with Levis? Did he got injured?
I have no clue what's going on with them. I just know I watched them on Sunday, and I just saw a fossil. And I was like, is that 15? No, is that 17?
17.
Oh, that's Ryan. Oh no.
Yeah, he was underrated on his mobility. That's what saved him a lot of times. His mobility, it was sneaky good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's run through a couple of super chats, then we're gonna jump over to the Browns game. Ravens Nation $2 super chat for all the Miles talk. Ravens have more sacks.
but to be fair, we talked about this in the offseason, how we don't have a guy, but we are able to produce schematically sacks.
Ben Riley, $5
trade the Browns defensive line for your defensive line any day of the week.
Ben Riley, $5 super chat. We could invest in turnstiles instead of O-line because at least that way other teams got to put a quarter in before they sack our quarterback.
Damn.
We talking about the Bengals?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Like a combination of I feel like the Chiefs got all their sacks in the second half of the game. Like
first half, you guys were winning.
First half we did fine. It was the second half. Like it was a combination, I will say, of Browning just holding on to the ball too long, and then just bad offensive line play. Like the interior, like Cordell Volson. I never really believed in Cordell Volson, and people got mad at me for it last year because I honestly thought Quentin Spain was better. I think a lot of people were just mad that Quentin Spain gave up a sack at the end of the Super Bowl to a future Hall of Famer in Aaron Donald. But yeah, they got to do some. We got plenty of this offseason to talk about the offensive line. I will say, though, I don't think Orlando Brown played bad. He did give up that sack. But Orlando Brown, honestly, is probably one of the best ones on the line, which isn't saying a lot.
You already paid him, too.
That's not good.
Yeah, like I mean, he's not bad. Like
he's solid. He's solid.
He's solid. He's not somebody that you got to worry about. Like I'm used to, as a Bengals fan, having guys like Bobby Hart that I got to worry about. Like,
no, but
Bobby
to be
Hart
fair, it's even hard to find Orlando Brown. It's hard.
You know that
people think it's just easy to find a good
Orlando Brown Jr. is
exactly. What's his name?
You know that video where like the dude is just barely patting people down? Like that was the Bengals offensive line for years. Like
Damn.
Yeah, like all right, Bobby Hart. Yeah, all right, you good. You right through there. Cedric Ogbuehi. Oh yeah. Michael Jordan. Oh yeah, that's how Joe Burrow got hurt. But yeah, we got our offseason to talk about that. Let's
Wait,
get into
I think you jumped this one.
Okay. Does Joe Burrow play in his first? Dog, we not starting that. We not mentioning. Somebody put some sage out here or something. We are not doing this again, dog. That's how we jinxed them last time. I'm not saying anything, bro. Until we put some sage out here. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. My bad. Habitual line stepper, $5 super chat. Disagree, Sonny. It will be an AFC championship. We will send the Browns home then. I think we get the Texans or possibly Dolphins if they beat the Chiefs.
So this is the thing. This is how I have the standings going. This is just me. I'm not talking for the rest of the guys. Obviously, Ravens first. Oddly enough, how I have this thing, the Bills go second, which is crazy. How the Bills were dead in the waters, right? Because they have apparently they have a tiebreaker over the Chiefs somehow.
They
head to head, and then if they beat Miami, the Dolphins, then that puts them in the
Yeah, so I have the Bills at 2, I had the Chiefs at 3, 4 Jaguars, 5th the Browns, 6th the Dolphins, and 7th the Texans. I don't think the Texans are beating the Bills at Buffalo. And then
you think the Dolphins can beat Kansas City?
No.
It's Pat Mahomes.
No, well, the Dolphins haven't beat anybody good. Well, they beat the Dallas. Did
they beat Cowboys? The Cowboys are the one team in the NFC that don't look fraudulent.
No, I don't know. Wait. The Niners are not fraudulent. The Niners will spank the Cowboys.
The Niners are good against every other division.
Yeah, they are.
But my point is, I think the Browns are the one team that I think will win that first week. Hence, they will get them in the division. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. Which I don't want that because that's gonna be not only a competitive game, which they're all gonna be. It's gonna be a physical game. The physicality in the AFC North is different. Like this year, you watch this year's the game AFC North, and then you watch your team against anybody else. The Niners were the only other team that I had like this team is physical like us. Any other team, I'm like. That guy, they
a real physical game too to come out of a bye week with.
Yeah, I don't want that. I'm hoping for another upset.
Yeah,
let's get into these Browns, man. Of all time, you're like, go Texas.
Go Texas. Go Texas.
Yes. Do it too.
Yes, go Texas.
Let's go ahead and get into this Browns game, man. It was we actually should have started at that one. That's the one that I saw when I was catching on my flight. It was a beatdown in epic fashion. Q, what were your thoughts on this game, bro?
Oh yeah, this was I expected this because we know what this Browns defense plays like at home, and the offense has been matching that energy the last few weeks. And when they do that, I mean, they're going to blow some teams out. They're going to play well. Now look, I don't know how motivated the Jets were to play this Thursday night football game in Cleveland. I bet they knew it was an ass whipping. Like you ever go to a game and you could tell when the other team want to get home because they'll run out the tunnel. You know how usually when it's a big game, you play like the Ravens and the Ravens on the road and the fans are booing them. Ravens are like, yeah, give me more. Give me that. And I need that. I remember watching the Dolphins play the Browns one year. This is the year where they were winless. They played the Browns and they walked out and we booed them and they were like, why? Like, what did we do to you? And I feel like the Jets ran out there, got booed, and we're like, hey, dog, just play the game. We don't need none of this. So I don't know how motivated the Jets were, but the Browns had a pretty impressive showing, especially in the first half. Once Elijah Moore went down and they basically resorted to just 2 linebackers and Sauce Gardner on David Njoku. There was really no throwing the ball at that point. We couldn't move the ball consistently, so it kind of just stalemated out. But yeah, real physical football game. The Browns defense took care of business. I thought that they were very dominant in the first half of this game. They kind of took care of business. And that's the thing I like about this Browns team is that when it's come time to take care of things, in the right point of the season. They've done it. That's the thing that I think separates the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens from all the other team in the AFC is that they take care of business, right? Baltimore has this 2-game stretch. You talk about, oh, they can fumble the division. Oh, they can make it. They didn't make that shit remotely interested for 1 second. The Baltimore Ravens did. No, they didn't leave us any room to be like, hey, we could win the division. No, they beat both of those teams down, because the Ravens take care of business. Same thing with the Browns, right? There was a part where you're like, hey, man, if the Browns lose here, it could get interesting for the Steelers. It can get interesting for the Bengals if the Browns don't take care of business. They go out and they blow out 2 teams with the Texans and the Jets. They take care of business, and now they get their 17 days of rest. So shout out to AFC North. Shout out to 2 teams taking care of business. But that's what I think separates this Browns team from even the team that made the playoffs in 2020 is that, man, when the opportunity arises, no matter what pops up, they take care of business. Because I remember in 2020 when the Browns had a chance to clinch, so they didn't have to play against Pittsburgh in that last game of the season. They did not clinch. And you can blame it on, all the wide receivers got taken out, Quincy, because of COVID. Look at what happened in this game. We were down to David Bell and Cedric Tillman. Poetically, we were out of our wide receivers again against the Jets. But you know what? The Browns took care of business and didn't leave any room for guessing about if the Browns really deserve to be in the playoffs or are a playoff team. And that's why I think separates the good teams from the bad teams. Bad teams are like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They fumbling and stumbling to take care of business. And now something that should have been taken care of 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, a month ago in that division, now they're trying to make sure they take care of it right now. Right? That's a bad football team. Cleveland Browns are a good football team. They take care of business. That's what good football teams do, is take care of business. So just another confirmation of that. Look, I can't go too far over the moon with this. David Njoku's been playing well. Nothing we haven't seen before with this Browns team we saw in this game. But that's just another confirmation that this is a Browns team that they're not messing around this year. They're taking care of business. And you know, we'll see what they do this week. If they can get to 12 wins, if PJ can give us another one, we'll see what happens there. It would be hilarious. But it's just this is a Browns team that takes care of business.
Sonny, what were your thoughts on the game?
Okay, Cleveland. Are y'all ready to talk about the uncomfortable conversation that your 4th quarterback is the best quarterback in this roster from day one? And he wasn't even here day one.
That's a little
Mr.
crazy,
Joe Flacco. Mr. Joe Flacco.
You witnessed Deshaun's best game. Are you going to do that?
Deshaun put one best game. Mr. Joseph Flacco.
Oh, wow.
Put a series of good games.
I knew Sonny was going to try to turn this into something.
A series of good games. Yo, Cleveland, look, if y'all are smart here, you should trade Mr. Watson for whatever and just sign Flacco. Extend him.
Go Wacko for Flacco.
Wow.
Go Wacko for Flacco. I see it. Look, I have it in my timeline. Go Wacko for Flacco.
Yeah.
Look, nobody. Look,
just
defense is a good defense.
If you give us Roquan Smith.
No, Ro's here forever. But look, the Jets are a good D. And look what Flacco did. Look what Mr. Flacco did to that good defense. I'm just saying, you might have your quarterback and you're going to let him go in the offseason. That's kind of crazy. Don't do what the Eagles did to Nick Foles.
Oh, yeah. What would the Eagles be if they kept Nick Foles, right?
Hey, that next year, if they would have kept Nick Foles rolling with him, they would have another Super Bowl right away. Nick Foles? They might have. I don't know. I don't care. I just like the troll with Flacco. Look, to be fair with Flacco has been playing good, but he has also been unfortunate because he had two extra interceptions there. The Jets guy just didn't catch it. I'm like, Flacco, you just threw it to the run jersey here, buddy. I know you used to play for them. Maybe that's why you threw it to them. And whoever the offensive guy for Cleveland made a good play and make sure they didn't get intercepted. I knew Njoku was going to be good with Flacco because Flacco likes the tight end. He's gonna keep eating because Flacco, whenever he was in Baltimore,
Dennis
Dixon. Before that, he eat with him too. every tight end will eat with Flacco. He likes the tight end and he likes possession receivers, right? And that's kind of what Amari is for him, right? Because Amari's a great route runner. But Flacco, the thing with Flacco is I still am not sure if this is a good scheme for Deshaun Watson, but I said this a couple weeks ago. This is definitely the scheme for Flacco, right? Like this, when he was in Baltimore under Kubiak, it was his best year. And this is the type of scheme that Kubiak ran. Again, with Watson could be great too. I'm just saying I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But for Flacco, this is definitely the scheme that he excels at. I don't think next year nobody pays him. I think somebody would give him a highly incentivized deal to see if he was high. That would be the smart thing to do, a highly incentivized deal. But look, Flacco did his thing. Cleveland is motivated. We talk about the Ravens. Ravens, like one thing that I have been loving about the Ravens, we'll talk about the later, is their mentality, how they're talking and how they're playing, right? Very, very focused. Cleveland is as focused as the Ravens. Like there's no joke with these teams. Like they're having fun, but they also have eyes on the prize. They believe they can win, right? Cleveland believes they can win. Like at the beginning when they have Flacco, DTR, maybe first couple games, says LOL, we'll see what we can do. Not anymore. Now they feel like, yeah, we can win against anybody. The Browns, right? And that's what you want. That's the mentality you need to have going to the playoffs. So they dominated. They imposed their dominance against a team that, like you said, they were like, why are we here on a Thursday night? Why are we here getting embarrassed in national TV? Why was this not flex? And they left as soon as they could. But yeah, good performance. This next week now that they can just chill because they locked the 5th seed, so they can chill. They can rest guys. And yeah, I think that they play good.
Yeah, I think Cleveland just came out and completely dominated the New York Jets, or what was left of them, right? It's crazy that at the beginning of the season, like, yeah, they lost Aaron Rodgers, but we still expected the Jets to be a decent defense, right? Like, no, they just got taken to task in this one. I even saw some guy with a crazy like parlay that ended up hitting in this game. And he ended up hitting it off of, I think it was a Jerome Ford
Dog, you put a Jerome Ford anytime touchdown in there. I'm like, that's crazy. That's a heat check right there.
And
but Jerome Ford does have like 8 touchdowns this year. I didn't know that.
But they just completely went out and dominated. And I felt like as I was in the airport watching this one, it was just kind of like the Joe Flacco kind of campaign for him winning NFL Comeback Player of the Year, because they kept panning to like his brothers. He was out there doing his thing. He was just on fire. He really did look like vintage Joe Flacco on that playoff run out there. And that's a good story to have. Like, we've had a lot of good stories. I think this might be one of the best ones.
He's out here throwing on the run.
Joe Flacco doing this thing. Yes.
Sonny, was he doing that in Baltimore? Like, legitimate question. Was he
on the run? Yeah. Like
he made
early Flacco. Think about this. Even the Jacoby Jones big pass. If you go back, he was like kind of running. He just he loves
that little shotgun pat step right, throw across his body play. Like every time he do that, I'm like, oh, here come David and Njoku for 20.
Flacco more so step out the pocket. Like he was more so like a extend the play, get out the pocket, and then set his feet and throw a tight person.
Like an old big man.
He could get you them yards though. Like back in the day, he'd get you them yards like running.
I thought he was about to scramble before he threw that thing to Jerome. I'm like, is he about to get 5 yards?
He had some wheels on.
Flacco
he
did
had
his
a
thing,
4.84 at Delaware. I didn't know that.
And like you guys said, the David Njoku game, he's been unleashed there. The Cleveland defense continues to do their thing. The Browns are just for real, man. I mean, the Browns are legit. They are a football team. I think that they've shown that. We've always talked about, and that's no coincidence that I believe majority of us in the offseason, they kind of ended up winning a lot of those position battles that we had, because they look like one of the most talented teams in football, along with the Ravens too. So I don't want Ravens fans to take that the wrong way. But I think that with the injuries that this team has sustained, and Q has talked about it, with that amount of the salary cap being on IR, and for them to still find a way without Nick Chubb,
And the
without
majority
any
of
of their offensive line, which was kind of their strength. Like, it's crazy. Go ahead, Q.
In the majority of that percentage, 26% on IR, which is leading the league right now, is on the offensive side of the ball. That's the insane part of it. Like, I think maybe what Grant Delpit, he doesn't have to take a big contract of it. It's like it's Nick Chubb, it's Deshaun Watson, it's a bunch of guys on the offensive line. It's just been a massive injuries there. But still, what Kevin, I just looked at it now. The Browns are 11th in total offensive yards this year with all those injuries on that side of the ball. And that's also the argument for Kevin Stefanski being coach of the year, because who has done more with terrible hands dealt to him than him this year? And what, 11 wins? I mean, like, if he were in any other division other than the North, he'd probably be winning it, or at least have a chance to win it this weekend. It's crazy. The Browns could get to 12 wins and still be 2 games back. It
is crazy. It is crazy.
J-Rod, what were your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought this was a waste of a good Thursday night primetime matchup, man. I mean, the Browns came on there and embarrassed them boys, man. They I mean, the Jets, we already knew what to expect from the Jets. And obviously, they weren't in playoff contention. Obviously, we knew offensively they weren't, able to move the ball, and that they were going to struggle defensively to contain Cleveland. So, Flacco did what he did, what he's been doing the last 4 or 5 games since he's been in there. 4th straight game with over 300 yards, the 5th straight game with multiple touchdowns. So he's out there producing. He's out there getting the ball out to Amari Cooper. He's out there getting the ball to Elijah Moore and Njoku and his other receivers. He's out there doing his thing. I mean, it's crazy to me that he's still doing it at this point in time and this age. But I mean, a lot of people will probably be able to do that on the Jets too, with the way that they playing. So, like I said, I think it was a big dominant team win by the Browns. I think that the Browns did a good job of being like playing bully ball. Their O-line got a big push. They were very aggressive. I don't think that they ran it as much as they could have, but they I think they really should have if they wanted to kind of like control it. The clock a little bit more, but I think most of that action came in the first half. I think the second half came and they fizzled out a little bit, but it really didn't matter because the Jets weren't productive at all. So, like I said, good kudos to the Browns for clinching a playoff win, a playoff berth, and we'll see if how this whole AFC North going to turn up, because I'm pay for my boys. So. I mean, it might be crazy to see 3 teams in the North in the playoffs.
For sure. And before we get to the last team in the North, I'm gonna run through these super chats, and we'll toss it over to Sonny to talk about that Ravens beatdown against the Dolphins. I got one from Zen Menza here for $2 super chat. Zen, if you have a message, please put that up. Ravens Nation $5 super chat. Quick non-AFC North take. What do y'all think happened to the Eagles this year? Same players as last year, and they look way worse.
They lost Shane Steichen.
Somebody figured them out.
Somebody let me know what's going on with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, dog, because my fantasy team lost and got basically banished to 3rd place because of it. I don't know what's going on.
Isn't Hurts playing hurt?
He's banged up.
Shane Steichen?
Yeah, Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
The answer's in Indy. I mean, look what they've been able to do with Gardner Minshew. I mean, when Anthony Richardson was in there, it looked like they was about to be something crazy. It's Shane Steichen, right? They have downgraded from offensive coordinator, and it's been this weird tension between the offensive coordinator and Nick Sirianni in Philly the whole time, and the offense has not been on track. I mean, every time you watch an Eagles game, somebody's mad at something the offense is doing. Either Jalen Hurts is mad at the offensive coordinator is mad at the head coach, or AJ Brown just out there mad at everybody, right? It does not seem like things are operating smoothly, and this goes to it, man. When they don't like going to work right now on that offensive side of the ball. And when you don't like going to work, you're probably not going to get the best work out of people. And that's what they're getting right now. That's why they look so sloppy. They look like a team that's tired, to be honest with you. Like that long run that they had last year, winning all those games in a row, they look exhausted.
Yeah.
And that
losing to the Cardinals is nasty, dog. Losing to the Cardinals is nasty.
Yeah, they got real like, hey, I would not be surprised if they 1-2-3 Cancun this thing against like
y'all did. That was a stray. That was an unintended stray. I was like, losing to the Cardinals is nasty.
That's cool.
Hey, J-Rock, though, when they lost to the Cardinals, you knew what? Changes needed to be made.
Change gonna come. Same cousin.
You lose to the Cardinals, and you be like, oh, there's some adjustments that need to be made.
Because we didn't have to. We didn't have to lose that one, but we did. So change gonna definitely come.
Yes, sir. Robbie DeBell rhymes with Toby. I can't wait for Raekwon to intercept Flacco in the morning.
AFC Championship
of the AFC Championship. With that being said, Quincy loved the trolling. Okay, I guess he ended up doing another one here. Can't wait for Raekwon to intercept Flacco in the AFC Championship game. That being said, Quincy loved the trolling. You get a big ass Joker smile when you feeling it. All right. Jamar Sanders. Go ahead, Q.
Hey man. Roquan Smith getting an interception off Joe Flacco is y'all crowning moment for the season. That's what y'all go make the best linebacker in NFL is go get an interception off a man who almost has double-digit interceptions in 5 games, and that's going to put y'all season on the map. Man.
The season's so very in the map.
Hey, man.
But we need to finish.
I'm more worried about y'all best player on defense, which is Kyle Hamilton, not Roquan Smith.
Oh, my God. Pickens fumbled. Also, Mason needed a true chance. That's from Jamar Sanders.
Agreed. Pickens did fumble, and I know I had that take about Deontay Johnson playing around, but I'll definitely take Pickens with his ability and his lack of fumbling. Maybe that won't happen in one time and one game, whatever the case may be, over Deontay Johnson. Mason definitely needed an opportunity though, and he's getting it because now it's balls to the wall. So I mean, they don't care. They throw the
Tell me, Deontay Johnson doesn't make sense just like spiritually as a Charger.
Yeah, I can see him over there.
Can't you see that? Like,
matter of fact, let's propose that trade. We'll trade him for Keenan
Allen.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if he can beat the drop allegations if he gets like signed to Kansas City, right? Like he'll have a couple bad years in the Chargers.
We don't want nobody.
And then he'll get to Kansas City.
We want Keenan Allen.
By the way, Kansas City.
He look better than Powder Blue anyway.
Because shout out to Kansas City, by the way, because they're at the point with that wide receiver roster where they're going to do what I always say is the most desperate move in football. And you know what that is? Signing Allen Robinson, thinking that's going to solve some of your issues at wide receiver. Yes, they are the next. We go get Allen Robinson team.
Mighty Mulatto here, $2 super chat. I have the Steelers getting in if Miami or Tennessee wins. So I think that's what he's saying is his path.
I got him sliding in there some way for him.
I didn't consider. So if Miami wins, can the Buffalo get eliminated? Is that how it is? Let me see this.
It's probably.
I think Buffalo got to lose.
I think Buffalo and Tennessee got to lose, right?
No. If Tennessee wins and the Steelers win, they're in because that means Jaguars are out. But I didn't know about the Bills. Let me check this.
Q saw the video on Dalvin earlier. What time frame are we looking at if the Browns were to sign him? Also, how does the waiver wire affect it? Love the watch parties. That's from Dark Side Golf.
Was Dalvin Cook traded for, or was he signed in free agency on a minimum deal?
He was signed in free agency.
You talking about?
Remember, he got cut. He got cut, and then he tried to decide between two teams. He was going to decide between Miami or the Jets.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, salary cap people, but I know that the playoffs don't get taken out your annual salary. So I think if you sign Dalvin Cook right now, you're just signing for that one regular season game for the rest of the playoffs. So I would imagine the waiver wire wouldn't be that big of a deal if they want to go that way. They could sign him. He might want to just get signed instead of claimed as well. That might be a factor in there so he can get recoup some money. But yeah, the waiver wire, I think you're only paying for that one game because the money for playoffs comes from the NFLPA, not from your salary.
No.
Let me add this for the super chat. The Buffalo game apparently does not matter. If they lose, they're in the 7th seed. If they win, they're in the 2 seed. The game that matters is Tennessee and Jacksonville. If Tennessee wins and y'all win, you're good. If
Miami beats Buffalo, their reward is playing Buffalo again.
Yes, but in Miami. So
the rematch?
Yeah, rematch.
That is an awful reward.
Now, if they lose, then Miami plays on the road in Kansas City.
Someone said the Bills can get eliminated technically, right? Yeah, because they had 10 wins. I think what happens if Indy and Houston ties?
Yeah, if Indy and Houston tie, then the Steelers make it. Yeah,
I mean, either one of them lose or they tie, we get in.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. I'm looking here. It doesn't matter if Buffalo loses, right?
And this will all be determined by the time that game comes on. So it'll all be on. But the NFL, sometimes they don't know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing this last week of the season.
The Buffalo game doesn't matter, J-Rock. I'm playing here with stuff. The Buffalo
No.
game,
I'm not talking about Buffalo. I'm talking about
I know, but it's, the other super chat said about something about Buffalo losing. But
okay.
It is like if y'all beat us, the next game is the Houston Colts. If they tie, which is highly unlikely, then you guys are in. But if they don't, then you're coming Sunday, pulling from Tennessee. Because if
you beat any of the AFC South teams?
The what?
The Steelers.
You said did we beat any AFC South teams?
Yeah.
You beat Tennessee, right?
No, we didn't. We lost against all of them actually, except for the Titans. I don't think we played the Titans this year.
Man, yeah, that was a pivotal one.
Yeah, but we lost to the Jags earlier, and then lost to the Colts and the Texans almost back to back. Well, no, the Texans were earlier this year too.
Yeah,
Texans
they lost. They lost to all of them.
Wow.
But Sonny, you gotta talk about this 56-19, dog. You gotta talk about it.
Look, the Ravens. Obviously, I was never like, oh yeah, this game is in the bag because of what happened last year, right? But this felt different. The first quarter was competitive. First quarter, Miami comes down. I don't remember. The Niners, I don't think they did this to us. No, because we picked Purdy. But they came boom, 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 touchdown. Quick. Very quick. And I'm like, shit, no. And I know Stevens wasn't there, right? So I know we're shorthanded with Rock just seeing and Darby. And then Marlowe goes out in the second quarter, I think it was. But anyway, then we come, first play, big play, Bateman drops it. And I'm like, that was like a 30-something yarder. Nah. And then we get another big play, gets called back by holding. We're like 3rd and 17, and we go screenplay and we make it. And we drive down, and then we lost a bunch of yards on penalties that first drive, but we drove down. We had a Justin Hill Will Route touchdown. Okay. Well, because people were coming since Jalen Ramsey's been in this team. They're the number 1 defense in the league. I'm like, okay, whatever. We scored. We match up. Then Miami comes down. Boom, boom, boom again. We were able to stop them for a field goal. So I'm like, damn, it's gonna be that type of game. Our defense can't stop anything right now. Like they're moving the ball, but the Ravens were able to score again. And after that, they basically clogged them. Like after that, whatever it was, we figured out. We were bracketing Hill, but Hill also had a sneaky bad game. Like he wasn't in sync with Tua. He dropped that touchdown. They dropped 2 touchdowns. One Hill, wide open. The Hill one was stupid. He was like wide open. Nobody touched him, and I think he was shocked how wide open he was, and he just lost. Oh, that was in the second possession when they ended up scoring 3. And the Claypool dropped a touchdown, harder one, but he dropped one.
They dropped the third one to the other Hill.
Did they drop a third one?
It was another one where I think y'all was only up by like 14,
But
and they had
this
a
is
chance to like come back.
this is what the Ravens discovered with Tua. So then we were starting to hit Tua, not necessarily sack him, but hit him. And if you will watch that game, Tua started being a one-read quarterback. He would snap the ball, one read, and if the guy ain't open, he would just throw it away. Like throw it to him, but high. That was it. That was his whole game plan. One read, guy ain't there, throw it away. Right? And then the other thing we were able to do, which I think is crucial against Miami, which in that first drive we stopped the run. Asian started getting now he ended up going for 100 yards, but in the first 3 possessions he had, I'll say the first quarter, he had a lot of those yards. As the game progressed, when they tried to run, they stopped the run. And again, then Tua was just a one-read quarterback. Well, maybe a second read. And he was just throwing high. That helped our corners a lot. Again, we were down to bare corners. I think that's what helped on defense. Like McDonald doesn't, I think, get enough credit because people talk about Ravens #1 defense, but people don't know our D line. Like people know Clowney, right? But people don't know Maravika, even though Maravika has had a great season. I mean, we know him here in the North, but outside of the North, nobody knows Maravika, right? Nobody knows Broderick Jones. Nobody knows Washington. People might not even know that we have Van Noy having a career year for us, right? So the D line also played great. The linebackers played great. Roquan had that one pick, but the other pick that Geno Stone had was Roquan jump and tap the ball, and then went to Geno, and Geno caught it. The team is so focused, and now if we go on defense. Miami, like when I reading that Miami was the top defense since Ramsey was there, didn't look like it because I think we punted once, maybe once or twice, but this team did whatever, like the Ravens did whatever they wanted against this defense of Miami, like whatever they wanted. Like it was like that again. The first quarter felt like it was the one that struggled the most in that first quarter against this defense, but after that, it was like easy. I'm like, how our dudes are like wide open, like literally wide open. What is this? Like I don't remember like say Flowers getting open. Odell made a hell of a catch over there in the boundary, which I was like, damn, that's a nasty catch. Like that's like vintage Odell catch. Bateman has been doing nothing this year. Likely has progressed as he's getting more and more gameplay with Andrews out. It was like there was nothing. And then on the running side, Hill had a good game. Gus had a good game. Hill had a good game catching the ball, which will be great if he continues to do that because Gus Edwards is not the best route runner or on the open field or catching the ball in the passing game. But it felt too easy on offense. Like literally, it felt too easy. Like I was like, this is weird. Like because Miami's 11-4, right? And I'm like, this is kind of weird how easy it is to removing the ball. And again, they were talking how great this Miami Dolphins was on defense. Nick Chubb got injured. That sucks to see. At the end, you're muted. Q.
You're muted.
Bradley Chubb. You gave
Bradley
me
Chubb. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Like again?
No. Bradley Chubb. Sorry. The cousin. The Chubb cousin. And he's gonna be out. I mean, I don't know if they said, but it looked like AC or something. Dude was in pain. Yeah, he's done. That's unfortunate. And they were down by so much at that point. Like, anyway, I think look, if Bateman can play like that, now he dropped that one ball, but if Bateman can play like that and Zay like that, and Beckham can be the third guy that makes one great catch per game. And then likely gives you what he gives you on the underneath, right? On the tight end, because he's an agile tight end. They're going to be a problem on offense, right? Running the ball is still not as consistent. And when you have Mitchell, because even though Hill is fast, he's not shifty like Mitchell was. But Hill can be a good or a matchup problem in the passing game. The team looks so locked. Now, am I worried? And we'll talk about this probably in the preview with the extra time. I'm happy for the people that are like hurt, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm just thinking of 2019, right? Like I'm sure all Baltimore fans are like, "Oh man, should we rest? Should we not?" And all this. But anyway, it looked like two teams that were in different leagues. Which again is crazy because Miami is the second in the AFC, but it looked like two teams. They were like I read like how Miami, and we've seen it through the year, like they cannot beat anybody in the 500 club, and then they beat Dallas, right? But it looked like they were not a team in the 500 club. So
yeah, man, this was just a domination, bro. Like this game was over at like halftime. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tua is fraudulent, man. I mean, a lot of Dolphins fans like to act like he isn't.
Ace went in there. Ace went there.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud. I mean, Sonny kind of said it just in a nice way. One read quarterback. If it's not there, he's throwing it away, because if he is throwing it, it might be to the Ravens. He might have looked like Brock Purdy a few weeks ago if he did. I mean, Miami.
He had a good game against the Commanders.
They've been frauds this whole year, man. People are going to give them credit for beating the Cowboys, another team that kind of struggled to beat teams over 500. Like that somebody had to do it. One of those teams had to do it, right? But I think that it's clear that the Ravens are much better than Miami. Miami looks like a team, and I feel like that game is going to send the wheels, kind of tumbling off, especially when they play the Bills this week. Bills are playing, like a team wanting to make the playoffs. Miami Dolphins right now, I don't know. Like, not only did you get beat down, you lost a lot of good players in that game to injury. So I think the Ravens went out and took care of business. The Ravens showed through the toughest stretch that they were just beating these teams down. Like we talked about the tough stretch being the 49ers, Dolphins. Those were games that, potentially they could drop. No, they steamrolled right through them. I had questions about the offense earlier in the season. They never had issues on offense. Like there were some games where they had, a hiccup here and there, but this Ravens offense has definitely got it rolling. They've got stuff going on there, even with, you can't even tell Mark Andrews went down. They just put up 59 points without Mark Andrews, right? And you could argue before the season, Mark Andrews was wide receiver 1. They don't even need Odell Beckham Jr. to do anything. They're still just a complete team. So I think the way that this team is playing on both sides of the ball, Q said it earlier, I think that this was a statement game from Lamar to wrap up the MVP. I mean, 5 touchdowns, dog, in one game. Whoever had that, he needs to be more quarterbacky line. Definitely ate their words after this game. Ravens took care of business. And now they get to basically rest their starters next week and probably wait for, 2 weeks to play out since they got that first round bye. So if you're a Ravens fan, I think that you're in great shape. You got home field advantage, and you're just waiting to see how things play out. And if you're a Dolphins fan, I don't know what you're doing today after letting that Madden score happen. Like, you had to pass the sticks about twice yesterday, dog. It got nasty for you. It got nasty for you.
The bullies got bullied, right? Like, it was they found a bigger bully than them. And it's funny, right? Because they went viral this year for putting 70 on the Denver Broncos and all that. And now in their most important game of the season, what happens to them? Baltimore Ravens are a beast of a team, and they are a really good team. They're an elite team in the NFL. I don't imagine very many teams could walk into M&T Bank Stadium and beat the Baltimore Ravens.
I knew it was coming.
Especially in this last half of the season when they've been so hot. It's one thing to get them early, but to get them in the last half of the season when they've been on this high streak, got to be quite a team, quite a defense to be able to beat that team, right? Hey, but 210 points is the point differential for the Baltimore Ravens this year.
That's crazy.
That's the best
nasty.
by far in the NFL, right? The next closest is the 49ers, and then there's a huge gap between them, the Cowboys, and the Buffalo Bills, and everybody else. When the Baltimore Ravens are playing at their highest level, when Lamar Jackson is having one of those games, I said this last week, right? Like, it's not every week, but there are some weeks you watch Lamar Jackson play, and you're like, it's not that different from Pat. It's not every week he does it. But there are some weeks where like he making the same crossbody throws, find Isaiah Likely out of nowhere, like all this bullshit. And then he also does the Lamar Jackson stuff where he's like, nah, I'll just run. Like he also has that, right? He's still really good at that. This game was officially over when Roquan Smith got that interception and then the Ravens scored on it.
Thanks.
Right, like straight up. Because like it's one thing for Roquan Smith to get a stat. It's another thing for Roquan to get a stat that actually matters to the game.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? Like that's nuts.
That can't
That's
compliment. I knew it was coming.
That's
I knew it was
insane
coming.
that he was able to achieve such a feat. And that's what when the Ravens went, it was a fourth down they went for after that interception, too, by the way. And they scored on the fourth down conversion.
Yep.
Hey, dog, if your team scores on the fourth down conversion, you're probably winning that game. Like that tells me it's all going 7. It's all going your way. And it was just that kind of day for Baltimore. Look, they knew they had some demons to exercise. They had to beat some of these, hey, we blow these lead allegations that they had because, you know, they blew a couple leads, one at home. I forget to who. But
The Colts.
not just the Colts.
And then the Steelers. But that was
It just
I was going
the one. Yeah.
I was gonna let him go by yourself. Go ahead.
Keep going. Yeah, the Browns.
Yeah. 17 points, something like that. It's crazy. Fourth quarter. All right, but they were dedicated to making sure that didn't happen, and they closed the door shut. They showed that there's a true difference between them and the Miami Dolphins. Like the Miami Dolphins are a team that, I mean, like if we look at them compared to other AFC teams, I think the Browns have the most wins over 500 teams. The Ravens have to be at number 2. And these are the teams that have been tried, true, tested, have played good teams, have played well against good teams, and have beaten good teams. And then there's teams like Miami who beat up on some bad teams, but boy, oh boy, when they get those good teams, they just don't look like the same team. And I think you hit on something earlier. Now, I don't know if Tua is a one-read quarterback. I'm not going to go that far with it.
I just said in our game.
Yeah. But what I do know with Tua is he's that class of quarterback where you get in his chest. He's not doing that stuff. Like some quarterbacks are only good when they get comfortable. And some quarterbacks, if you get them outside their comfort zone, they start making those mistakes that we know them to make, right? Tua's arm strength starts to matter once you get some pressure on him, right? Now he ain't got that zip. Same thing with Brock Purdy and all these other guys. So look, they play physical football in the AFC North. It's a different brand. We talk about it, and it seems like every time one of these teams that think they're good goes up against one of these defensive fronts from the AFC North, they get shell shock. And that's just AFC North football right there. But a great game from Baltimore. I mean, they are the class of the AFC. They deserve that 1 seed. And they are the best team in the NFL in the regular season. We'll see if they can live up to it in the postseason. But as of right now, I mean, Baltimore has to be one of your favorites to win it all, if not the favorite to win it all, because they've been that good. It's crazy, though. You look at Baltimore, 13-3 record, 3-2 division record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Quick question, bro. Who's RB1 next year, Keaton or J.K. Dobbins?
J.K.'s free agent.
Ooh, y'all not gonna bring him back?
I mean, J.K. has been injured throughout his 4 years. If
every
he comes,
time you get that next running back, man,
I'll be running through what running backs like.
Bring back
y'all just use them and abuse them.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad because I love J.K. I mean, if he wants to come back on the cheap salary, prove me a year, because we will have to do that somewhere, right? Doesn't have to. Wherever he goes, he will come in a 1-year deal and see what he can do.
Even in the year that the Ravens are healthy, J.K. Dobbins still got hurt.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Marcus Williams.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Stanley. And Marlon Humphrey.
J.K. just can't stay healthy.
Like they weren't even healthy.
He's injury prone, man.
Shout out to the Ravens, though, man.
We just say the Ravens are healthy because Lamar has played all the games. Like, that's the barometer for us. Like, hey, has Lamar been healthy? Yes, they've been healthy. Man. And that goes back to, remember we was making this point in the summer? Lamar Jackson literally makes the biggest difference for any single player in the NFL right now, because like if Lamar Jackson's not playing for the Ravens, it completely changes the makeup of their season and the makeup of the franchise. Like Lamar just being healthy. They haven't been healthy around Lamar. Like they've had guys in and out the lineup all year, but just Lamar just enough. He's just enough there, man.
On the defensive side, currently we have a lot of injuries. Like we have a lot of guys like in this game that left the game banged up, like Hamilton and Williams, the other safety, didn't play. Marlon Humphrey left in the second quarter. Stephens didn't play. So our secondary was very hurt this game.
And that's why the Atlanta Falcons for this.
Because they didn't try to get Lamar would have loved to go to the South, you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Atlanta Falcons, the Miami Dolphins. I blame you. You let this happen. You did this to yourself. Y'all was, we don't want to give him guaranteed money. We don't want to set the precedent that he can get. And then you made it worse. The Browns would be the division champion if you would have just did what made sense in the summer.
Q, they said they have Ritter and Tua.
Idiots. Oh, 32 idiots. Man. Oh my goodness.
Lamar is crazy.
Yeah. Speaking on this Ravens game, man, I definitely, like I said, want to give my shout outs and my kudos to the Ravens, man, and clinching that number 1 seed and showing out how, for the AFC and potential AFC leaders, and how you dismatch the how you put down a AFC leading team that are front runners. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, the Ravens really went in there and handled business. You know what I'm saying? So I really, like I said, got to give them to that. Give them kudos. They went in there, like I said, I thought it was going to be close at the beginning of the game, but you know what I'm saying? They wound up coming out and blowing them out in the second quarter. So they did their thing. Like I said, Lamar had an MVP type game. All business. You looked at him over there at the bench, no smiles. You know what I'm saying? So defensively, I think that the Ravens handled business. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, getting those interceptions, when they needed to, getting those sacks and shutting down that run game. But Chen definitely had a good game though. He started off playing good. But he shut him down. I think Arthur Millette had a good game. Shadowing Tyreek Hill limited his production. And I think the Ravens just went crazy on both sides of the ball. This is one of the games where they, produced offensively as well as they did defensively. And I think that, like I said, it was definitely a showing of their potential and their explosiveness on offense and defensive, as well as, how they're going to do into the playoffs. So that's pretty much it.
Hey, so Sonny, when y'all get off this bye week and y'all play your first playoff game in the divisional round since 2019, after having the bye week, this will be the first time y'all got the 1 seed since 2019.
Yeah, but it's not the first time we play divisional round because
y'all have like a pregame ceremony.
Yeah, you mean like before the guys walk in?
Yeah, like a little we gonna bring in this guy to do this like pregame ceremony.
We have a guy. Yeah, they bring like a legend that comes out.
And what do they do?
They come with the shield. They just come with for where the players will come out, and they come with the shield and will hide the crowd. First
playoff game, y'all get in the playoffs. Bring Earl Thomas out with the shield, baby. Let us know he's still alive after the time this happened.
Earl Thomas,
yes,
like public enemy number 1 in Baltimore. Nobody likes him.
And I want Earl Thomas to run off the sideline tunnel he got thrown into too. Like I want him to come back out where he got thrown away from.
He said him and his brother need to run out with
Yep. And Derrick Henry needs to apologize.
Oh, got a super chat here from Rich. If Buffalo loses and the Steelers win, they have a better conference record than Buffalo, so they leapfrog them.
I double checked this. And Rich, you are correct. So you have 2 chances. If somehow they both lose, the Steelers can go all the way to 6. But if either Buffalo, look, it's crazy because Buffalo can go if the Steelers win. If the Steelers win against us, Buffalo either wins and is the 2 seed or loses and they're out.
Wow.
That is insane.
They're not just out, eliminated
And from the
by
playoffs.
Mason Rudolph.
I love to see it. It sounds like it's going to be a real good story.
Ray Rag super chat $5. Flacco has the same amount of passing touchdowns, 13, as the Panthers, and more than the Steelers, Titans, and Jets, who only have 12.
That can't be true.
Damn.
Is that true?
I don't know. I ain't counting, but I don't care.
Mighty Mulatto, $2 super chat. Steelers/Ravens get Brad Allen as official.
No, yo, we do not. Matter of fact, let's put him on the Ravens line. We need him. We need some help.
What, J-Rock? I know you the Steelers benefit the most from bad officiating. This is good for you.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I thought about it first, and then I said,
Yeah.
Unless you're playing the Patriots.
Yeah, unless we playing the Patriots. Come on. God, why you had to bring
they
that
still
up?
gonna complain like they don't get ref favors.
Why you had to bring that up, man? 2017.
Was it a catch?
I would say this. Look, well, actually, no, I'll leave it for the preview show. We'll be back for the preview.
We'll be back for the preview show. I think we're doing Thursday evening around 8:00. So definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We will be back. This has been AFC North Talk. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.